Hello, everyone, and welcome to the From Compliance to Competency webinar series presented by the Regional Centers for Workforce Transformation. My name is Jeremy Cowie. I'm the Manager of Workforce Development for CDS Life Transitions.
And I'm Brennan Thompson. I'm a Cultural Competence and Health Literacy Specialist for the Center for Human Services Education. Today, we will be guiding you through understanding and demonstrating Goal Area 3, Competency J, showing respect for diversity and inclusion.
The competency we will be discussing today is Competency J, which is showing respect for diversity and inclusion. Competency J falls under Goal Area 3, demonstrating professionalism, one of the pillars of the work that DSPs do each and every day. I would guess that if you have the word professional in your title, an expectation of the job would be to demonstrate that professionalism, right? Even though there are only two main skills associated with Competency J, they certainly encompass a lot of important responsibilities for DSPs. These skills are: the DSP will, 1, demonstrate respect in all matters relating to diversity and inclusion, and 2, demonstrate the awareness, attitude, knowledge, and skills, i.e. cultural competence, required to provide effective support to those we serve from any particular ethnic, racial, sexual orientation, religion, gender, socioeconomic, age, or disability group, as well as any other component diversity groups. Wow, there is a lot packed into these skills. In other words, the DSP has to be able to understand that each person that they support comes to the table with a unique culture, a unique identity. Even though the person has different likes, different traditions, and a different background from the DSP, it is of the utmost importance that the DSP remember that their first allegiance is to the person. Getting to know that person and all the things that makes that person unique is what will allow for the best quality impacts and supports for that person. The DSP's own beliefs will take a back seat as he or she serves as an ally, advocate, and support to other people. We will go over how to utilize these skills more specifically, but let's first start out with a scenario where we will apply our general knowledge of these skills. Keep the skills listed on this slide in mind as you listen to the scenario.
In our first scenario, you are a DSP working for 2 ladies and 3 gentlemen in their home. The 2 ladies, Tabitha and Ida, both celebrate Christmas and have been talking about how they will be spending their Christmas. But Hamid will celebrate Eid, and Ben will be celebrating Hanukkah. Patrick will not be celebrating any religious holiday. Several of the DSPs you work with have decided that since it's getting to be the end of the year, they want to throw a house Christmas party for the people they support with a secret Santa gift exchange, Christmas carols, decorations, and making Christmas cookies to share, and then finish it all off by going to Christmas Eve Mass. Sounds great, right? Well, you're not so sure. You're thinking that it might be wonderful for those individuals that celebrate Christmas, but what about those who don't? How can you support each person individually? How can you make sure that everyone's cultural identity is respected? How can you make sure that everyone feels included, including the other DSPs, when everyone is so different? Not easy at all. As a DSP, where do you start? What do you do?
Remember, according to Competency J, you want to respond in a way that demonstrates respect in all matters relating to diversity and the inclusion of the many different cultures that are represented. Here are 4 helpful steps to enter into cross-cultural communication and shared decision-making.
The first step is to step back, look in the mirror. Take time to think about your own identity and how it shapes how you think and act. What biases do you have, and how do they impact your work? Step 2, listen and learn. Everyone has a story. Listen to what someone has to say, ask about what's important to them and why it is important. Be observant. How do beliefs and experiences influence behavior? But don't assume. Step 3, investigate. Often, when someone's experiences and beliefs are very different from our own, it is important to do a little bit of homework. Learn more about what you don't understand to bridge the gap. This can be done on your own or together. But remember, if you're doing research on your own, don't just assume it applies to the person you support. Learning about specific groups' identity, experience, and history can be helpful, but each individual is unique. For example, Ben identifies as Jewish, and you have read that according to Jewish law, there are certain dietary restrictions. However, Ben has chosen not to follow these particular restrictions, yet he remains both spiritually and culturally Jewish. And finally, the fourth step, share. This is the most important part. Share the decision-making process for what happens next. Whether it's deciding to continue a conversation or plan a party, have an open dialogue and be willing to change your plans. Remember, it's okay not to know. What matters is having an authentic and respectful curiosity when exploring differences.
Now let's apply these steps to the situation with a house Christmas party. So remember, your coworkers are planning a house Christmas party for the people you support. You are trying to be culturally competent and want to make sure that you are supporting everyone's cultural preferences. Remember our first step, step back, and acknowledge that you have your own beliefs as well, but you understand that in order to demonstrate that you are a competent DSP and just a good human being in general, you must show respect for others' values and don't impose your own. We should inform our coworkers that not everyone we support is Christian or celebrates Christmas, and suggest that a Christmas party may not be appropriate. How we say this is just as important as the message we are trying to communicate. If our coworkers feel accused of being incompetent, they are less likely to support a new idea. Step 2, listen and learn. We should discuss the idea with everyone and listen to what everyone wants to do. Okay, so everyone is open to the idea, but where do we start? What are some key resources? First and foremost, we should let the voice and choice of those we support lead the way. However, this is a time to also leverage community resources and natural supports to enrich the experience. Involving friends and families that share the same traditions, beliefs, and experiences can help inform how to make the party more inclusive. Step 3, investigate. In this case, asking faith leaders who have a relationship with the person to participate in telling stories and sharing traditions would be appropriate. For example, Hamid, who celebrates Eid, may want to invite his imam to share the stories of Mary and the birth of Jesus from the Quran. Similarly, Ben might invite his rabbi to share the story of Hanukkah. Step 4, share. By opening up the discovery and decision-making process to others, we can enrich the experience. Beyond faith, this may be a time to tap into cultural traditions that surround this time of the year. For example, Hamid is Moroccan. By including him and his natural supports in the decision-making process, his sister has offered to make a traditional winter stew to share with the house, modified to everyone's dietary needs. In another example of how sharing could enrich the experience, Ida, who celebrates Christmas, loves to make Christmas cookies every year. Learning more about her housemates, she has decided to add a Star of David and a crescent moon to her usual Christmas tree and Santa Claus cookie cutouts. There are many different ways to be inclusive and respectful of others around us. The above scenario is by no means an exhaustive example. In our next case, we will look at an alternative to a party.
In our last scenario, everyone agreed to have a holiday party and share their experiences with one another. What if, for one reason or another, there were some strong preferences not to have a party at all? As a DSP, it's still important to accommodate everyone's needs. This will require some additional coordination, but we can still leverage the same natural supports to inform our next step. If possible, arrange for people to engage in their respective holiday festivities with their community. In this example, consult the families, if appropriate, and find out where and when important faith-based celebrations are held. Do Ida and Tabitha belong to different congregations? They may want to attend different services. Are there events being held with family or friends? What about Hanukkah festivities? And do Muslims have a winter holiday? There are a lot of moving pieces, and we don't always have the answers to address needs appropriately. As a DSP, we need to find out what matters most to the people that we serve and how to accommodate their needs. Before we end, let me just answer some of these questions. Hanukkah is celebrated over 8 days and nights to commemorate the rededication of the Holy Temple. Hanukkah can occur anytime between late November to late December, as the Hebrew calendar is different than the civil calendar. Similarly, the Islamic calendar is based on lunar cycles, and so the 2 annual holidays celebrated by the majority of the Muslim world fall on different days each year. The 2 holidays are Eid al-Fitr, celebrating the end of the holy month of Ramadan, and Eid al-Adha. This holy day commemorates the sacrifice of Abraham.
It is important to recognize that cultural competence does not require knowing everything about another person's identity or experience. Instead, cultural competence is more of a mindset to have the humility and curiosity to learn what is important to those around us.
Every scenario you face will be unique, and most cross-cultural conflicts will be more subtle than a Christmas party. But if you remember the 4 steps to cross-cultural communication and shared decision-making, step back, listen and learn, investigate, and share, you can enrich the relationships with those you serve. We have created an interactive handout to help you navigate cross-cultural communication.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Please remember that these and other webinars and interactive activities will be available on our website at www.workforcetransformation.org.